So today I'm going to be making beer, and the style of beer is an Irish red, and I'm going to take you through my process of making beer and show you my equipment that I'm using, and yeah, just show you how I do it. Right, so yesterday I purchased from the Country Brewer, which is a local homebrew shop here in Western Sydney. I bought this box which contains grains and all the hops needed to make an Irish red, and it makes it easier for us homebrewers if you don't want to play around with various recipes. It's a brew in the box kind of thing. Now, so what's in this box is typically everything you need to make the beer. Obviously, it's like the recipe in here, what your boil size and temperature and how many liters will be made, your grain bill, which is the types of grains that's in this box, the hops and the ale that will be used. So what's in this box is all the hops and the yeast needed. Comes with naked oats. It's about 500 grams, I think. Yeah, 500 grams. And then red eggs base grain, which we will be using to make our beer. So this is the ingredients to make beer. Is the oats. Well, this recipe you need the naked oats and your base malts. So just to take you through my equipment, I've got a grain father, which is not connected at the moment because I need to clean it out first and connect the Bluetooth device and all that. But typically we're going to be doing the boiling and the mashing of the grains, and everything will be in here. But you know, I'll get to that once I've set everything up. Then I've got a grain father hot water kettle, and this is just to prepare the sparge water. That's a secondary stage of rinsing the sugars from the beans, and I'll explain that a bit later. And that's just pure and simple, just a simple hot water tank. I'm going to be filling that with water soon. And then I've got a conical fermenter, and once the wort is cooled out and ready to be transferred from the mash tun or the grain father that's there at on the opposite side of the table, you will put this into this conical fermenter. This is where all the fermentation will take place over the next couple of weeks. So everything's in here. Then the rest of my equipment, I've got a hop spider. You place this inside the grain father when you add your hops, and this allows you to contain all the hops inside of this basket, so the raw beer is not filled with lots of hops, and you don't have to worry about cleaning it. Then I've got a refractometer for measuring the sugars in the water. Got some sanitizers and cleaning agents and a whole lot of stuff in this box, and some measuring jugs and a siphon. You need a siphon to siphon the beer at some point, but not now. We won't use it because the grain father's got a pump connected to it. And very importantly, a little spray bottle with some sanitized solution in it, so that whatever you touch, whatever you use, you need to sanitize it, else you'll get the wrong bugs in there, which will spoil your beer. So this is everything needed to make beer. So looking at the ingredients, we've got 4.5 kilograms of red eggs and 500 grams of golden naked oats. So that's 4.5 kilograms of grain. So put this in the grain water calculator, and 4.5 kilograms, 22 liters of this batch size, means that we would need mash water. We would need 15.65 liters of mash water and 14, let's call it 15 liters for sparge water. So I'm gonna fill the grain father with 16 liters and the sparge water tank with 15 liters. and yeah, that should be enough. All right, so we've got the sparge water in the kettle here. We've got the grandfather going with the pump going, trying to heat the water as quickly as possible. So if you look here, this is the sparge water tank. And the nice thing is you can set the temperature here on the side to where it should take the temperature up to the heating, so it will heat it up to just under 70 degrees, and then once it's reached that level it will actually keep it there, so when we're ready to sparge, the water is at the correct temperature. And yeah, there's 15 liters in there we will be using for sparging. Then on the grandfather, the pump is on, but I think I'm going to switch the pump off for now, and the extra element, the heating element, is switched on, and it's currently sitting at 21 degrees, and our target temperature for mashing is 68 degrees. So while that's happening, I'm going to go prepare the basket, which the grains and everything will go into. I'm going to insert that in here. Yeah, so once the water in the grandfather reaches 68 degrees, which is the mashing temperature, we'll start with adding the grains in, first by adding the red eggs and then the oats, and then just stirring it gently. And then once we're ready, we close up everything and we sit and wait for about an hour while it mashes. So while all of that's going on there's my son. Hello, Andre.
Hello.
He's helping me make beer. He's not allowed to drink it though. So while that's getting up the temperature, it's time to go clean the conical fermenter, and sterilize it, get it ready for transferring of the beer into the fermenter. Alright, it's up to temperature, and we're going to start doughing in the grains. Great. Right, we're going to be doughing in the grains now. Can you stir, Andre, please? Stir properly. Smells delicious. Stir, please, Andre. Stir, both hands. Okay, so now the oats is in there. Just continue stirring and mixing everything nicely. Great. Things are looking great. It looks like porridge almost. That's exactly what we want. We want to extract all the good sugars from the grains, which is good. So now the water is recirculating, the pump is on, and yeah, everything is happening inside of there. And you won't see it, but the water is busy running through there at the back. So now we leave it for an hour to mash, and then we'll come back and we'll sparge. So it's been about 15 minutes into the mash. Everything has started getting nice and clear. The process of clearing the beer or creating this separation is called the Warlauf. When this is done, in about 10 minutes, this whole basket will be lifted up, and I'm going to start the sparging process of removing 15 liters from this and slowly draining it into the grandfather. While we wait for the mashing to happen, I want to show you my kegerator. So it's a fridge. It's got 3 taps. So once the beer is finished with the fermentation process, I put them in kegs, and then there's 3 different taps for the 3 different kegs that's going to be in here. So that batch that we're busy making will go into 1 keg. And at the back here there's a CO2 canister with a regulator which pushes the beer out of the kegs through the taps into your beer glass. Inside of the kegerator are 3 20-liter kegs, and they're all connected by ball locks and all that. They're currently filled with old beer, so I need to wash this out. I've also made a apple cider yesterday, which is in the which is busy fermenting in below the stairs. And yeah, that will go into one of these kegs. The beer that we're making now will go into one of these kegs, and then I will be making another beer soon that will go into the third keg. But the cleaning of the kegs will happen in a different weekend, because the fermentation process will take about 3 to 4 weeks anyway. Okay, so now the mash is complete and the grains are in there below that grid, and the water is busy draining. So now I'm going to start sparging 15 liters of hot water from this tank, transferring it with this bucket onto there. Yeah, and that's the sparging process starting right now. Yep, slow process, getting there. And that's the way you sparge. You want to extract all the sugars from this grain, because sugars are what the yeast eats and creates alcohol from that. So now it's about done. Just a little bit more drippings down at the bottom, just to show you. When I lift the grid up, there's all these spent grains. So what I'm going to be doing now is remove this basket and take all the spent grains and put it in one of these containers, and my wife's going to make a lovely bread from that, or rusks. So nothing is going to waste. So here we go. Here is just about 24-25 liters worth of raw beer. So it's basically just the water extract. So if I do that, you'll see it's the sugary water. So now we have to boil it, and as the instructions say here, let's just have a look and see here. The instructions say that we need to boil for 60 minutes, right? So once the temperature is up to 100 degrees, and I can see a rolling boiling break on the wort, we're gonna have to add 20 grams of Northern Brewer, which is this one. I'll add this here first. Then 15 minutes before the end, we add 20 grams of Challenger, which is that one there. And then right at the end, we add another Challenger. So this is, the Northern Brewer is most probably the bittering hops. And the bittering hops is obviously to bitter the beer. And the Challenger hops are there for flavoring of the beer. So that's why it's not added in the beginning, because most hops only releases the bitter aspects of their taste after 1 hour of boiling. So if you add anything later in the boil, like 15 or 30 minutes before the end, it's mostly just for flavor. So the Northern Brewer is there for bitters, and these are for flavor. So yeah, so once it gets up to 100 degrees, it's now sitting at 90, and the boiling starts, this foam here at the top will thicken and thicken, almost like crema from a coffee. And once we get a rolling break, which means part of this here or somewhere it will open up, and you'll start seeing a rolling boil. At that point, the boiling process starts. I put the timer on and I add the hop additions, and then also add this hop spider, which will help us containing most of the hops, so we don't contaminate our beer with too much hops. So that's the next process. And then when that's done, when the boiling is done, we're going to add the heat exchanger to the top, connect this to the external the hose pipe, which will circulate cold water through these pipes, and will cool down the beer as quickly as possible, because we want it to be cool down as quickly as possible before we place it inside the fermenter. Right, it's time for the spider to go in. So I'm going to drop the spider in there. There we go. The spider is going to sit there, and it's currently sitting at 97 degrees. So not long from now, we're going to start seeing a proper boil. So as you can see, we have a boil. Things are boiling. So what's going to happen now, these are the hop pellets. So you can see that's hop pellets, in pellet form. Once I drop this in here, it's going to shoot up the foam. So there we go, first hop addition going in now. Great. So now I can set my timer for 45 minutes, so we can put the next hop additions in. The conical fermenter has been sterilized. Here it is. This is how it looks like. It's quite a big unit. Stainless steel. So we've got the bung here at the top and the bubbler here, and the bubbler is there to ensure that no outside bugs and stuff come in, because this is where the beer will be fermenting for the next 3 weeks. At the bottom of the conical fermenter, there is a release valve here to get some of the trub out. So that's just what you're seeing there is sanitizing liquid that's collecting at the bottom, because I've sanitized it completely. And this valve here at the bottom allows you to take a sample of your beer to test the gravity and all those things, but that you only do a little bit later. So this valve here at the bottom, it's got an extension that goes right till here in the middle, so you can get some of your beer, because what typically happens with fermentation process, the sediment lies here at the bottom and it will lie in this cone here, so you can get a sample of the sediment here and a sample of the beer down here, so which is very nice for us beer makers that want to just get a sample of actual beer without opening the fermenter and contaminating the beer with external bacteria and things. You want to keep this as sanitized and as clean as possible. So yeah, so once the boil is done, we're going to cool down the beer as quickly as possible, or the raw beer as quickly as possible, and place it inside of this fermenter. And then 3 weeks later, it's going to be magic in here. Then I'm going to put this into one of those kegs. And once it's in that keg, I'll make another video of how I do the kegging and how do I add bubbles and what do you call it, carbonation. How I carbonate the beer. That's using the carbonation bottle, but I'll show you, take you through all of that. But yeah, so far so good. This is clean, ready to accept the raw beer once the boil is complete. So one of the brilliant things of the grain father, it comes with a Bluetooth unit that I can manually set the temperatures. So here you can see how the boiling temperature has reached 100% or 100 degrees, and you can see the timer. I can switch the pump and the heat off, and I can walk around with my phone in my pocket, controlling my my grandfather. All right. So I've got my boy helping me here. Hello! Alright, so I've got this heat exchanger here at the top, and I'm just gonna pump some water through it, so that wort, maybe certain parts of the world say it differently, wort. So I'm gonna pump some wort through it, just to make sure it's nice and sanitized. And then I'm gonna ask Andre to turn on the tap for me at that point, and then we're going to start exchanging heated coolant with cold coolant, so that when I put into the fermenter, it's nice and cool. Right, so this is warm, this is cold coming in from outside, and we are now going to, we just feel this is freaking hot, and it's cold on this side, so the intake is burning hot, and this side is nice and cold. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the pump, and I'm going to open the fermenter. Right, and I'm going to then take this pipe and I'm going to transfer the wort in there. Switch on the pump again, And off it goes. There it flows into the fermenter. Nice. And this should be nice and cool. Cool to the touch. Nice and cold. So cool, man. Nice and cool. Alright. Finished product. On the left hand side is the Irish red, and the right hand side is an apple cider. Cool. Yeah, and that's the end. Until the next beer that I'll be brewing.